Back to work on the Galaxie today. Today I am replacing the dimmer switching, and I'm going to try and put the rear bumper on. But I wanted to show how clean this, look at that, how clean that area is. I mean, that's all green paint. That's the switch I got to replace. So let me, I mean, look at the screws, they're not even rusty. So that thing should come right out. Should be no issue. Let me get to it. We got the old switch out. You can see how corroded it is around the button. But the connector is actually nothing wrong with the connector on either end. Nice and clean. There's this little plate here the switch was mounted on, and I think I will give that a quick bead blast and repaint before I reinstall it. Look at how clean that is. I mean, that's unheard of in Michigan to find a car that even exists still, let alone rust free. While that little bracket's drying, I decided to do the horns up. This is the high note, the low note. So this is the, goes on the passenger side, and this goes on the driver's side. This horn does not work. I tried turning that screw, I tapped it, I checked it with an ohm meter, and it's open, so that one's burned out. But I'm gonna paint it and put it back on the car until I get another one. This one works. This is the high note. We'll paint that and reinstall it. And I had two other horns that would have worked, but neither one of them worked, so I'm just gonna throw them both away. And I'll hunt around in my stash. I might have another low note horn. It says low right there. Until this one has high on it, right? Does it show up? Anyway, that's a high note, and I'll eventually find another low note identical to this, but I can put another one I might have until I find one. But I'm gonna give those a quick prime, mix up some paint. I'm gonna paint those with acrylic enamel. So mix up a little paint and give them a shot of black. There we go, that's the working horn, non-working horn. Nothing like restoring something that doesn't work, huh? But at least it'll look nice under the hood until I find a working one. And that's the zinc chromate primer. This part is aluminum, so the paint won't stick unless you use an etching primer, so that's why I used the zinc chromate on it. That's the little bracket for the dimmer switch, so I'm going to put that back in right now. That's all nice and dry, and painted the gloss black just like it originally was. That's just Rust-Oleum on there. Oh, the new switch is in. Now it pushes like it should. So let's see if well, it seems to change it, and the indicator on the dashboard works too. So let's put it on high beam and make sure all four headlights are illuminated. And they are. The parking lights on this era cars go off when you turn the headlights on. But there we go. We got a dimmer switch working now. There we go. New dimmer switch installed. I changed the turn signal flasher too. This is what was in there. I mean, it still works. It just blinks the light kind of quick. So now it's a little more. You can hear it, It's under the dash, right? Well, you're not going to see it, but it's like right there. So there we go. I'm going to mix up a little paint here and paint the horns. I'm going to use the smoothie on the horns. Stuff like that, I do use smoothie so I don't get, you know, if there's oils or something, anything that, I doubt there's anything on it, but I'm just using it. I don't use this in a lot of body colors, but I do use it in engine compartment, you know, in solid colors. I mean, it will make your metallic flow, but I just don't like using it with body color, you know, on the body itself. But for like this stuff and, you know, stuff like in here, I actually used it on the underside of the hood because you never know when you get oils on here from the engine, and if you don't get them all off, you get fish eyes. So I did use it on the I didn't use it on the underside. A little something on there, wax or something. But anyway, I didn't, or probably pollen, dust pollen. I dusted the car off about a week ago, and with a California car duster. But yeah, so that just prevents any issues from oils. So the, you know, and the paint on the hood came out as good as the paint on the fender. So, you know, it's an additive, and a lot of painters say they don't like it, and they say, well, it, you know, it just evaporates anyway. True, it does. So does the lacquer thinner. It evaporates too, or the enamel reducer, I'm sorry. And you better have a drink. I said lacquer thinner. 2 drinks. I said it twice. But anyway, yeah, so that's kind of where I am with the smoothie stuff. I bead blasted and painted the bumper license plate brackets for the bumper. So that'll look a little better once the bumper's on. Those are bolted on. Installed the horns. That's the working one. That one is the non-working one. But they look nice in there. I mean, I'll get another maybe pair or one, or what. It's the high note that I need. If anyone has a high note correct horn and want to part with it, let me know. And I put the trim on the rear quarter panel. This isn't up tight because I got to put the moldings on around the wheel wells, and that screws in there, and I'll pull it up and do that once that's done. But I can put the rear bumper on now. You can't get the bumper, or you can't get these screws to these screws with the bumper on. The bumper comes up about right in, comes like right in here. Alright, I took the license plate light apart and bead blasted that. The lens I'll clean up. There's still a bit of gasket there. I'll leave that on there, and I'll just glue all that back on this after I clean it. And the bulb still works, so I'm not going to replace it. I'm going to start putting the bumper on. I got my trusty bumper jack out. I got the original washers that were on here when I took the bumper off. I don't know which ones I'm going to need, so I may not need either one, but we'll shim the bumper once, you know, because this isn't the original bumper, so it might need to be shimmed a little different. I also finished up the license plate light. So I've been horsing with this thing for a couple hours trying to get it lined up nice. I've had it on and off the car a couple of times, so you can kind of see here, you know, it's kind of tight there. And you can kind of see here it's not as tight. It's about a 1/4 inch difference. And this side looks, when you stand back and look at it, it appears exactly the same, but when you're up close, that side looks higher than this side, and they're shimmed the way it originally was. And I took the bumper off, put the old bumper back on. The old bumper fits exactly the same way this bumper fits. And then I went and looked in the manual, body manual on the car, and it gives specifications of everything plus or minus a 1/4 inch. So they weren't too particular about the fit. But when you stand back, let me get my jack out of the way here. When you stand back and really look at it, it actually looks really good. I mean, you can tell it's a little low on that side. I tried to loosen the brackets on the frame to no avail. Maybe I'll try and lower that one. That one I cannot raise up any, but I've loosened them, and they're pretty fixed where they are. They're not, where it bolts into the chassis is not in elongated holes. So you're basically shimming with those washers like I showed you to adjust the bumper. And if I take this shim out, I'm afraid it'll bend the bumper when I tighten this bottom one up, because there will be too much of a gap down here. Although I suppose I could put the shim down there, but I think I'm just going to leave it the way it is, because it's really not that little bit isn't really noticeable. I mean, you got to really look to notice that like I say, it's about 1/4 inch, and that's what the shop manual is, plus or minus 1/4 inch. So I'm just going to probably bolt it up and call it good. Another note, these reproduction bolts, first off, they don't send you enough for the bumper. They said this is enough to do a bumper on the Galaxie, which requires 8 bolts. There's 6 bolts in the package. And it's almost to the point where I'm ready to buff the original bolts and put them back in. I really, you know, so far I've had a couple of the threads of bound threading them together, and I just don't like the look of the head as compared to the original bolts. And that's a stainless steel cap. You can see where it's peeled over. So I could take the original ones and buff them. These, yeah, reproduction stuff is reproduction stuff. It's often garbage. The bumper is all tight and installed, and I got new plastic grommets somewhere around, and when I find them I'll put them in, but those are the ones I took out. What do you say we go for just a little ride around the neighborhood? It hasn't been started in 6-8 weeks, so we'll get it cranked up and go for a little ride. Well, let's see how a cold start is after it's been sitting here forever. Yeah, you can tell it hasn't been running a while. I think the carburetor's gummed up a bit. Alright, let me get it out of the garage. this will be the first time on a major road in 44 years. Oh. Runs much better now. It's been running a few minutes.
Service drive and around.
Well, I don't want to go that far out right now. I don't have the control arm bushings tightened up, otherwise I would. Oh, look, Brett's got his Cadillac sitting there. I think I'll go home and tighten up the control arm bushings. So if I want to take it out and drive it, I can. This drives like a brand new car considering it's got floppy tires and needs a front end alignment. Go for a little bit more of a ride. Feels extremely responsive. I barely stepped on it and kicked down when we got on road. Together, get rid of all the rattles and stuff. All the window glass and stuff sure is rattling. The trim sitting on the floor in the back. Well, this will be the first time on a major road in 44 years, won't it? That's 50. Runs much better now. It's been running a few minutes.
Put on the service drive.
Well, I don't want to go that far out right now. I don't have the control arm bushings tightened up, otherwise I would. Get some video of it outside in the sun with the new bumper. That's the most I've driven the car, obviously, since I've had it. So after 44 years, go for a little ride in the car. The bumper is going to be, the front bumper is going to be about a 4 to 6 week turnaround, he said. $500 plus shipping. And you know, I'm going to oil an undercoat down in all these panels and the quarters and stuff. And I'm not going to use fluid film. A lot of people say I should use fluid film, but you got to redo it all the time. Fluid film doesn't last. I'm going to use motor oil and this rubberized undercoating I have for the inner panels. And the underside just going to be painted like it is currently. So if you haven't seen my videos in a long time, yeah. Alright, so the next step is going to be the clean and paint, get all the glass and all this trim buffed. I gotta polish the trim, buff it, whatever you want to call it, reinstall it with the weather strip so I can put in the wing window, get all the glass fit and adjusted to the top, put the weather stripping on the top. That way everything will fit good when they put the top on. Everything will be adjusted. and it shouldn't need any, you know, I don't want to have to adjust it after the top's on and have wrinkles in the top. So all the glass needs to go back in, all the weather stripping, you know, all the stuff needs to go back together on the doors. Paint the top frame, change this and the cylinders, and then it's ready to go in for a convertible top. I'll show you what I'm talking about loose on the control arm bushings. These things right here. So I'll tighten them up, and the ones on the lower down there, and then I can at least drive the car a little bit. You want these rubbers to be relaxed. So after I put the bumper on, I'll have to loosen those back up and retighten them, you know, so it's all right for the front end alignment. It looks like I might have had the radiator a little over full, although it is like close to 90 out right now. But yeah, I suspect that was just a little over full. I'm not too concerned about that. This is the first time I've really run the car more than, you know, 5 or 10 minutes. It seems like, you know, ran it around a few miles and got it up to 50 also. So all is good. Yeah, I put the headlights on. I don't think it's charging. Probably need a new regulator. I'm not hearing the alternator whine. I have a tester I'm going to put on. Yeah, I plugged my tester in and it starts charging. This is my tester. It's definitely charging. Let me put the headlights on. Yeah, it's still charging. So it needs a new voltage regulator, so I'll get one of them ordered. Yeah, it's definitely charging. Alright. You could hear the engine speed up when I unplugged my little tester. One more thing. Okay, so I got to get a voltage regulator, but I changed the oil in this, and I put, the shop manual says this engine takes 6 quarts oil, and it's got 5.5 quarts. I put 5 quarts in it, and then I put a pint of that zinc. And it actually, when I checked the oil in the engine, I don't think it'll show up on the dipstick, but it's actually almost an inch above the full mark. And I don't know if it's because that tube appears to be the correct one and in the correct place. I'm just wondering if the dipstick is from another engine. I measured the stick from the tip to that, and it's 19.25 inches to there, not up to here, but to there, 19.25. So if one of you has a 352 FE and your dipstick reads full after you change oil, maybe you can measure your dipstick and let me know how long it is. I'm just wondering if this is the incorrect one, or if somebody's cut an inch off this dipstick tube here, and that's why it's reading way over full. And I know for a fact how much oil the engine has in it. Does it show up how much over full it is? I can't tell in the viewfinder. That's what the dipstick states, but like I say, the engine has the correct volume of oil in the sump. And I'm trying to, let's see here, that's the full mark. It's actually, like I say, actually a pint down from, I can't see here, let me take it outside and see if we can't measure this. Let's see here. Can't see what I'm doing here either. The dipstick keeps turning up. Alright, there we go. It's actually an inch and maybe an inch and a quarter over full on the stick. So yeah, it definitely either has too long of a stick, incorrect stick, or the tube into the sump is too short. So we'll have to correct that, get the dipstick reading right. So again, if somebody knows how long their dipstick is, we'll figure if it's the stick or the tube that comes out of the crankcase. Well, these top snaps have been a bit of a fiasco. I gave up on the ones that I got, the other ones, because they had a collar. But these ones I think I can make work. I don't need these. These are the original ones. Look at how much smaller the original ones are. This is actually for a 67 Ford Mustang. That's the only way I could find any of these snaps. But I can shorten these up. I'm not worried about that. Those are threaded all the way, and I think I have enough of those. Those were all stuck up under here. They're just missing some of these. If not, I can cut this down. You know, I can for sure make this work. That's not an issue. So I did get this today, and so I can start polishing the trim. And you know, I got to put the rubber seals. I got all the rubber seals for this stuff too. So I'll get I want to start getting the rubber seals on here, and I want to, you know, get this trim all buffed up. I don't think there's any dents in any of the trim. I don't think any of it needs straightening. It just needs buffing and the rubber put on it. And then I can start getting the glass back in, and I ordered all new complete weather stripping. So the convertible top, there's some of the weather strip right there is still on it, but this is like the top weather stripping for, you know, the framework, like this would be here approximately. You know, I'm just guesstimating. It might be back here on the other side, I don't know. But anyway, it's as you can see, weather checked and got some little tear marks in the original weather stripping. So I just ordered all brand new weather stripping for the whole convertible top, including the weather stripping that goes around that, which actually was in pretty good shape on this car. It was these that I was concerned about, the window glass weather strips, because what I got to do is I got to get all the glass in, put the top up, the top frame I should say, the top's not on it obviously, latch it. I got to put all the hardware back on, which I took off because I was going to change the dash pad, but at least put the things back on so I can latch the convertible top, and then I can adjust the glass to the new weather strips. So everything fits good with the top up. The glass, everything, you know, I want it all adjusted right. Then I'll take it in and have the top put on so that when I get it back, I don't have to adjust things and cause wrinkles in the top. So my goal is to get all the trim and glass in next. That's my goal. Paint this, get the cylinders replaced, get all the trim, rubber in, get everything around here for the top, and then I'm going to take it and have the top put on. And then I'll focus on the dashboard and, you know, the seats and the, you know, the interior, and getting the rest of the trim on the car. And then I'll buff the paint out this winter, and I think we'll call it good. It actually looks pretty good now that I'm starting to put the car together. It's made a huge difference in the appearance of the car. I got to put the Galaxie and the 500 emblem on, but I got to redo the emblems. Are kind of tired looking, so yeah, I got to clean that up. You know, I can't, these are not reproduced, and you can see it's got a little bit of a bend in it, but I'm going to do my best to reuse them. I'm going to clean them up, buff them, repaint the black on them, and reuse them. And then the letters I think will just have to go with too, because none of that stuff's reproduced. So I'll just polish it all up there. See other emblem. This one isn't as bad, so I might see if I can find an emblem. Well, I can probably straighten that moves it a little bit, but I might see if I can find another one of these to replace that kind of warped one. Maybe I should have checked the air in the tires, huh? I got my battery maintainer on here because, like I say, the alternator isn't charging. But yeah, it might have handled and drove a little better with air in the tires, but it ran and drove pretty darn nice, all things considered. I have not put air in these tires, well, in the fronts, since I got the car. The rear tires, I think I aired them up. I had them off for some reason, I don't remember, but anyway, I had the hubcaps off and I checked the air in them. The reason why, see, the stem is back in behind, needs a long stem. So you got to pop the hubcap off to get the air chuck on there. So I'll probably change these inserts and polish the caps up and check the air in the tires before I put the caps back on. Alright, I'm going to call it a day on this video. I did the closing on the house yesterday in Romeo, so that's all done. So now I can do a little bit more on this, although I'll probably go and see my dad here shortly. He's not been doing as well as he has been in the past, and he's actually in the hospital right now, but hopefully they get him straightened out. They don't allow visitors in the hospital, so I can't go see him, but hopefully he'll be home and I can run up and visit with him a little bit here in the near future. Well, I'm going to wrap this video up and call it a day. If you like the video, definitely hit the like button. It definitely helps. If you want to see this neat old Galaxie that's just been driven for the first time in 44 years on the road, actually on the road on Woodward Avenue, had it up to 50. And if you want to see it out cruising and finished up, subscribe to my channel. Hit that 348 icon, that'll subscribe. And thank you for watching my video.